Hi, I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. I am a guest host today for Adaptive Chicago Productions. And today, our guest on this show is LaDonna Friedheim. She's the founder of Reinventability. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself first, and then about this organization you founded.
Well, I have a background in dance. I was trained as a classical ballerina, but injuries and physical limitations prevented me from pursuing that career, which left me so empty for a long time until I met Alana Wallace, who founded Dance
How many years
Detour.
did that take for you to meet?
Oh, it was decades.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But when I met Alana, she introduced me to disability dance with her professional company, Dance Detour. And it was amazing. It opened up this world of adapting, of problem solving, of being free to dance and move again and experience that joy. I founded Reinventability to share that. I think that dance is a very powerful medium to not only express oneself and to feel, but also to bring a message to people that life can be lived, that fun can be had. I founded Reinventability to really educate and elevate perceptions of disability, and dispel the negative attitudes that limit possibilities.
Yes, I'm still curious, for those many years or after you couldn't, well, you thought you couldn't dance, let's say it that way, because it is the way you experience it. There was a lot inside of you, right, that just wanted to come out. Yes.
Growing up as a ballerina, you begin training very young. And this is your whole life. I slept in ballet positions. Ballet was my reason for breathing, my reason for living, and to have that end, it's a tremendous loss.
Well, you thought it was a loss, a complete loss.
Yes, I experienced it as a loss. And a change that I want to see is that when people experience this loss, after a mourning period, there is an awakening of possibilities, a problem-solving approach that when life takes so much away, you reinvent yourself.
Okay.
And that is very much about adapting the world around you.
Okay. And tell me about the spark then. What finally made you say, I need to start a dance company?
Well, really, it was getting involved with Dance Detour. That was a wonderful experience. And there is a great deal of wonderful professional dance in the area of disability dance going on. Access dance is great. Here in Chicago, we have Momenta. What I'm doing isn't so much a dance company.
Okay.
We're going out with classes and workshops and bringing dance to people who may not have that opportunity. One of our students, his mother, came to a workshop that we did, and she said, you gave me the gift of dancing with my son. It's something I hadn't thought of we could do together.
Really? And how did that make you feel?
That's wonderful. That's what I'm trying to do.
So tell me about these classes and workshops. So where do you hold them? Do you go around to schools or community centers,
Our initial program
churches?
is at a place called ICRE. And
what?
ICRE, the Illinois Center for Rehabilitation and Education.
Okay.
And they gave us an opportunity to come in and try out these ideas, which has been wonderful. And the students there have enhanced what we do through their participation and their feedback. And many of my initial ideas turned out not to be really what was needed or wanted necessarily. And we've evolved the program based on the input from the students there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your story with me.
Thank you. With us today from the Reinventability dance classes at ICRE are two of our students, Lauren and Brandon. I'll let them talk a little bit about themselves.
Okay, so I have never done any kind of dance before I started doing things with Reinventability last school year down at the Illinois Center for Rehabilitation and Education. I've always been really interested in music. I've been part of school choir since I was in 6th grade. So it had been about 6 years of being in choir and dealing with music, but because of my particular disability, I never really thought that dancing would be something that I could ever do. And especially using a giant electric wheelchair like this one. You think of wheelchair dancing, more people in manual chairs who are very flexible with their arms and able to do things like that. But when I started doing the wheelchair dancing last year, it kind of made me realize, oh, maybe this is something that I can do, and something that more people, even if you think you can't do it, it never ever hurts to at least try it and see if there's any way that things can be adapted so that you can do it. And it's really taught me that almost anything that you can think of can be adapted in a way so that anybody can do it, no matter how severe or limiting their disability may be.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And Brandon?
Well, I've always wanted to dance, and I was would dance around in my chair, but I never knew that there was a program that did adapted dances, and I've this past year, how you showed us how we did the Cupid Shuffle, the Weave, and all these other dances. Really, I opened my eyes and showed me that there is dances that we can do that we can adapt for ourselves. I do wheelchair basketball, so that has been awesome. I've been doing it for almost 6 years now, and I never knew that there was a sport that I could do before doing this program. So that's a little bit about me and what I like to do, and I hope for many years to come that I'll be able to still do these programs in the future.
Lauren and Brandon were not only students in the program, but leaders in the class. They both contributed great ideas that enhanced the class. Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about the Irish dancing?
Yes. So we did kind of a few weeks of different cultural dances back toward the end of the year last year. And we did them based on students' different heritages, so that students were each kind of doing different things based on their cultural backgrounds. And I'm extremely Irish. I'm actually both Irish and Scottish. And something that LaDonna had suggested was looking into reel dances. Because typically Irish step dancing, which is the most common type of dance that you see in Ireland, involves, both arms stiff at your sides and a lot of foot and leg work, which as somebody who uses a wheelchair is not really something that you can practically do. But with the reel, it's very pattern-based. It's very rhythmic and fluid, and it's something that even if you can't really use your legs in that kind of a capacity, you can still make it work because you're still able to do the rhythm and pattern-based steps.
Mm-hmm. Brandon had a number of leadership roles, from helping students who weren't getting things to creating a dance move, the double circle.
Yeah.
Which was great.
I just always try to, whatever I'm doing, I'm just trying to make it more fun and more just excited than just doing the same move over and over again. I just try to see if we can add a part or do some type of thing to switch it up and make it fun for everybody.
Thank you, and thank you both. We're also joined today by my daughter, Hannah, and Kwame, who is a professional dancer with Joel Hall. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Kwame, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Originally from Chicago, kind of came into dance a little later. So I was a tennis player as a kid. And as I got older, I always loved dance, but I never really gave myself a chance to like take classes or even consider it as something serious. And when I got older, I just thought that it would be nice to try a ballet class. And one class turned into two, and turned into a Horton class, and turned into a whole host of other ones. And before I knew it, I was on stage, and opportunities came. And at Joel Hall Dancers, that's where I got majority of my training. I was able to learn a number of really cool styles, and I just kind of fell in love with dance. So it was something that I started later, but I'm so glad I did.
Kwame is new to Reinventability.
I am.
And we met dancing the Nutcracker as the parents of my real life daughter. Now we're bringing Kwame into this new form of dance because really one of the wonderful things about disability dance and adapted dance is that it's an exploration of another dance form, another way of expressing ourselves and moving. Hannah has been part of this since she was born. Hannah came to rehearsals with me for Dance Detour in the baby carrier. And later she would sit in my lap in the wheelchair with a scarf as a seatbelt. When Hannah was 2, we would walk around town, and because of her exposure to this form of dance, when she saw someone in a wheelchair, she would say, dancing! And I just think that's so wonderful that everyone, what if everyone could look at something and see possibilities?
Wow.
She's a great kid.
She is.
Do you want to tell them how old you are now?
Well, I am 9 years old.
Wow.
And what do you think about dance?
Well, I've been dancing for a long time, and it's very powerful. I mean, and there's so many ways to adapt it that I never knew, really. And
Hannah has spent so much time around this. She has performed professionally with Dance Detour. She has also helped with choreography and problem solving when trying to do a move with 2 wheelchairs instead of a stand-up in a wheelchair. How do we change it so that it can work together? It's a wonderful skill, this adaptation. Well, they'll be dancing with us, and we're very glad to have you both here. Reinventability teaches weekly classes at ICRE, the Illinois Center for Rehabilitation and Education. And we are very proud to have with us as one of our teachers, a graduate of that program, Mia Coulter.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. I would love to hear your story.
Oh, sure. Well, I went to ICRE when I was about 17. My family and I were displaced, so we didn't have a place to stay, and we were living in shelters. And I was approached by a school counselor who told me about ICRE, and I went to ICRE that following spring to go through their independent living program. I was there 5 years. And I did successfully graduate and move on to my own independent living housing unit, where I presently still live after, 14 years, actually. I was at ICRE 18 years ago, as a matter of fact. I learned a lot of things about living on my own and doing a lot of things independently. I am presently still going back to ICRE on a weekly basis, and with you, dancing with the students who I love so much, and being able to give them the understanding that there is a way to be able to be independent within having a disability.
Very nice. How did you get into dance?
Oh, I got into dance about 6 or 7 years ago now. You and I met that long ago. How old is Hannah now? 9?
She will be 9.
I was approached by Alana Wallace, as a matter of fact, to dance with Dance Detour. And I had never danced before professionally at all. I have no classical training, no professional dance training at all. And Alana approached me about dancing with Dance Detour, and I was amazed by the things that I was able to be doing, and the things that I was taught, with learning how to do the symmetry of dancing with a person on such a lovely angle, and the elegance thereof, of being able to work with a group I never knew that could actually do dance. I never knew that there was a performance or a group or a community that performed with disabilities at all until I came to Dance Detour.
Wonderful. And we are very happy to have you at Reinventability.
Thank you very much. It's
What
my
is it
greatest
like
joy.
coming back to ICRE?
It is a breath of fresh air to be able to step back through those doors after 18 years, and to be able to work with individuals who never knew me, who never knew that I existed, and to be able to give them something that I was given, something that I was able to say helped me flourish in my life. To me, that's the greatest thing that I can give to all of them. To be able to show them that independence is possible beyond any situation. Your independence and your independence within your disability is more than possible. It's feasible and it's attainable, to be able to not only just live on your own, or to be able to live independently using a PA, or being able to do things without having to worry about thereof things not going the way other people want them to go, but the way that you envision them to happen for you. Your ability beyond your disability is what matters to me.